And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. Thanks for watching here on HBC. And coming up, we'll talk about some disappointment for the volleyball team, excitement for both the women's and men's hockey teams, and plenty more here on the Cardinals Nest. And Donny, during the interview segment, we're going to be talking genetics today with the author of a brand new, hot off the press genetics book, Dr. Richard Kowles, who's a professor emeritus in biology at St. Mary's University. So we're looking forward to having him on to talk about this brand new book.
Yeah, it's one of those times where we get to step out of our comfort zone of talking sports and talk a little genetics. And you know, my son Andy had Dr. Kowles for one of his classes in genetics at St. Mary's. So I may have a few stories to mention to Dr. Kowles. So yeah, it'll be nice to have him on and you know, like I said, step out of our comfort zone a little bit about talking just sports at St. Mary's.
All right, yeah, plenty going on around the campus. The book is just one of many things. But first, let's get to a recap of the previous week in St. Mary's Athletics. And Donny, the volleyball team, after losing that first round MIAC playoff match, waiting on pins and needles for about half a week, waiting for the NCAA to decide whether or not the Cardinals would make it into that Central Regional Tournament. They had to wait until Monday after having last played on Tuesday, so almost a full week. And unfortunately, Mike Lester's team faced some disappointment when the announcement came on Monday as to which teams would get in, because the Cardinals were not among them.
Yeah, it was very disappointing, and I was with the ladies. We watched the event online. You could watch the webcast of the selection show, and you know, there was a lot of disappointment when St. Mary's name wasn't announced. There were 3 teams from the MIAC that did get in: Concordia, St. Thomas, and St. Olaf, and unfortunately St. Mary's wasn't one of those teams. I really think that loss to St. Benedict had a lot to do with it. It was you know, first round of the conference tournament, and really you get into the semifinals of that tournament, I think it would have been a lot harder for the selection committee to keep St. Mary's out. But the way it ended up, St. Mary's ended up 21-10 on the season. Another great year for them. That's you know, back-to-back 20-win seasons, and you know, the disappointment is there, but I think as the season, or as the time progresses now, I think that they're going to realize what a great year they did have. They finished 4th in the conference. They moved up 2 spaces from a year ago. They got a home conference tournament berth. Got to hold that match against St. Benedict's on their home floor. So there's a lot of positives in that season. It's just an unfortunate way to have it end, and that expectations were so high that they were going to be still playing in the NCAA tournament, and unfortunately they're not.
And of course the NCAA has a very difficult job. Only 63 teams in the entire country get into this Division III national tournament. But I was surprised, Donny, that the MIAC only fielded 3 teams, and they were the regular season champions. As good as the conference was, I was shocked it was just 3.
Yeah, part of the problem is that as good as the conference is, a lot goes into the selection committee aside from records and aside from you know, where you finish in your particular conference. A lot of it has to do with travel. A lot of it has to do with you know, there's just so many things that weigh into that selection process. And you know, last year 4 teams from the conference got in. This year only 3. There's a lot of very good volleyball in the nation, and I think for the conference to get 3 really does say a lot about our conference. We did have the top 6 teams ranked in the last Central Region poll, so it's one of those things that you know, the poll, or the selection committee just you know, St. Mary's strength of schedule, whatever it may be, just didn't quite add up to what it needed to be, and unfortunately, it feels like we were the odd team out.
And regardless of whether they make it into the tournament or not, as Donny pointed out, a 21-10 record, a fantastic season for the volleyball team. But there will be big changes next year, as the Cardinals are graduating 7 players off of this year's team, and here they are, the 3 most notable: Brittany Cherwinka, Jessica Mate, and Sarah Gardner. Those are going to be tough. Lindsay Leggett had a terrific year for Coach Lester's team. They'll miss all of them, but those 4 are definitely noteworthy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of holes to fill, and I know Coach Lester's already, you know, out on the trail doing recruiting, and you know, you got some serious firepower there that you've got to replace. Brittany's 2nd all-time in career assists. Sarah Gardner is 3rd all-time in career kills. Jess Mate is 6th all-time in career kills. There's some fantastic careers that are graduating right there, and it's going to be tough to replace a lot of those people. And a Sarah Harstead and a Lindsay Leggett and Rachel Monrestelli, all of those players, they all had a lot to do with the success of St. Mary's. Emily Wellhaven came on several times and did some outstanding things when she was called upon. We talk a lot about Sarah, and we talk a lot about Jess Mate, and we talk a lot about Brittany. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes that also help make this team so successful. Obviously, though, there's no question that those 7 seniors are going to be greatly missed. You look at right now already this year, Sarah and Jess were first-team all-conference. That was released last week, and congratulations to Amy Kuyak, who is returning. She was also named all-conference. For Jess Mate, we talk about great careers. This is her third straight time that she's been all-conference, and Sarah, it's her 2nd straight time, and for Amy, it was her first selection. She'll be the go-to person next year when they return and step on the court for the 2011 season, and obviously there's going to be a lot of people looking at Amy to hopefully pick up some of the slack for some of those graduating players.
And certainly Carissa Hahn, Kaylee Bunny will join that as well. But it was an exciting year for the volleyball team, and we thank Coach Lester and the athletes for that. Donny, a lot of excitement, and I'm sure kind of a weight lifted off of men's hockey coach Bill Moore's shoulders a little bit as his team went out and won an early season conference game over St. Olaf. That had to be huge there on Saturday night.
You talk about burdens being lifted off of shoulders. There's no question that the win over St. Olaf was absolutely a huge burden lifted off of their shoulders. They've played very well this year. The 2 games prior to the St. Olaf game were both 1-goal losses. Unfortunately, at that point, they were losses just the same. They pick up that big 3-1 win against St. Olaf, which really snapped a couple of rather lengthy streaks. Won a 19-game winless streak. They had a tie in there when they went 0-18-1. But more importantly, it snapped a 22-game losing streak. And I know Coach Moore hates to talk about streaks, and especially one that's that long. But to get that off their backs and to get a win for in a game where they played very well, played well against Gustavus and lost. They played well against Stout and lost. They played well against St. Olaf and got the win. And I think more than anything, that's what's important right now is that they have to find that way to win those close games and really to win in general. And I think that it was an excellent game. I've seen all 4 of their games so far this year, and by far I think it was the best game that they've played. Jason Horseman was outstanding in goal. And right now, as we talked during their preview a couple weeks ago, they've got 2 outstanding goalies. Andy Scheib and Jason Horseman are both excellent goaltenders. And if Coach Moore can continue to rotate them, keep both of them fresh, that's certainly going to pay off big dividends down the road.
Well, and Kevin Wentland, who's been a scoring machine ever since he stepped on campus, he got that win over St. Olaf started. The Cardinals got all 3 of their goals in the 2nd period, and Wentland got it started for them.
Yeah, it's great to see. We talk about all the goals that are coming from new people this year, but then you've got Kevin Wentland, who got 1 goal. You've got Ben Kitzmiller that got the 3rd goal, and then another newcomer, Danny Wood. He sandwiched his in between those with his first goal as a Cardinal, and it's a great way for the Cardinals to actually finish their first home weekend, and now they head into conference play against Concordia this weekend, both games at home, and I know if you talk to Coach Moore, he just expects them to pick up right where they left off on Saturday and keep playing very well. It was as you can see here, it was a hard-fought game. Tempers were flaring. It's anytime you play St. Olaf, they're a huge rival of ours, and I wouldn't say there's necessarily bad blood, but it's a big game, and when you're pushing to get wins, you've got to do everything you can, and I think everybody on that team played very well, and they did what they needed to do to get a W.
Yeah, it's good to see that passion. Also good to see the big home crowd so far for both men's and women's hockey. We saw a video of that earlier when they scanned the crowd. The student section has been showing up, and really the bleachers have been pretty full throughout the arena. You mentioned this weekend's games against Concordia. It's a 7 o'clock start on Friday night and then a 2 p.m. game on Saturday afternoon, so certainly we invite everyone to come out for those.
And it's a big weekend. If we can start out the conference season with 2 straight wins there, that's a big jump start to the Cardinals. And again, they're playing very well, and like you said with the fans, it's an entertaining product. They're exciting. They're fast. They're playing good hockey, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And I know that later on in this segment we'll talk a little bit about basketball. It's the same thing. Right now there's a big buzz on campus, and it's these winter seasons starting up. There's some high expectations. There's some excitement, and there's some good products on that we're putting out. Both basketball teams are going to be very good, and both hockey teams are going to be good as well. So there's a lot to do, a lot to watch, and a lot to cheer for.
And the women's hockey team, talking about plenty to cheer for, they defeated Eau Claire last weekend, and we'll see some video highlights here. On Friday night, they beat Eau Claire, and this is the video from Friday night's game, a 4-1 victory for St. Mary's, and nice to see them sporting some new uniforms this year. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Unfortunately, Saturday, they go to Eau Claire. They fall behind 3-0 in the first period, 4-0 early in the second, and then make a valiant comeback attempt. Unfortunately, it falls a little short on Saturday. 4-3 was the final there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you're going to find with the women is they're going to score goals. If you look at their first 4 games, they scored 5 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals. They're going to put the puck in the net. They've got outstanding goalkeeper returning in Kate Collier. Sarah Gustafson made her first collegiate start on Saturday. Was a little shaky in that first period, but came on and played outstanding. She had 35 saves in her first start, so she's going to be a very good addition. We're getting goals from a lot of different people, and again, those are things that you're going to need to do to be successful. To start the season 3-0 like St. Mary's did was outstanding. First time since the second year in the program's existence that they've actually started the season 3-0. So for them to be 3-1 heading into their first conference weekend is obviously an outstanding way to get the season going. And now, unlike the men, they have to hit the road for their conference openers. They go to Concordia, which is always tough. It's tough to head 7 hours west to play a couple of games, and hopefully they can come out with a couple wins. And when we're talking next week, we're going to have a couple of hockey teams that are 2-0 in the conference.
Yeah. And the new uniforms, Donnie, how did that come about?
That's Coach Manner's doing. They're actually designed after Miami of Ohio, and I think that maybe Coach Manner felt we got a lot of new blood here. Let's have a little new look, and they're sporting the red helmets. And so it's maybe just a change, and like I was saying before, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of good things happening, and
Well, I tell you, I am impressed by the freshmen. The freshmen have really been playing well. He's not afraid to play them, and they have responded with goals. It's not like they're just putting quality minutes on the ice. They're scoring goals.
Yeah, Haley Coolset and Brittany Therian both have 3 goals. I mean, 6 goals from freshmen is, in 4 games. That's outstanding, and that's got to continue. They've got a ton of new faces on their roster. Both the men and the women are very, very young in that regard. So you're going to have to rely on them, and you're going to have to trust that they're going to get the job done. And right now, that's what Coach Manner is doing. He's not afraid to put them out there, no matter what the situation is. And right now, they're coming through.
Yep. Donnie, moving on now, and there we see the women's schedule coming up against Concordia. Moving on to swimming and diving, the Cardinals had their first event at the Hamlin Invitational, and what a day for Liz Flynn as she finishes first in both of her events. She was a terrific swimmer last year, picking up where she left off with quite a splash.
And actually, Coach Lindquist expects that from her. She finished in the top 8 in both the 1 meter and 3 meter diving competitions last year at the conference championships, and now this year she picked up right where she left off, and she finished first in both the 1 meter and 3 meter last weekend. And you're right, that's a great way for her to start, and hopefully that'll continue. And I know that there's a lot of other individuals who are kind of getting their feet wet, so to speak. Abby Kratzky had a very good meet. She turned in a 5th place finish, and Mark Ross, we've talked about Mark a lot. He swam very well in his events. Didn't place necessarily maybe where he wanted to place in terms of place finishes, but the times were good. And right now, early in the season, that's what you're worried about. You're worried about good place finish or good times, and not so much the place finishes. So Coach Lindquist is very happy with where they're at right now, and hopefully that'll continue this weekend when they have a couple of duels up at St. Thomas.
All right, St. Thomas for swimming and diving. The men's and women's cross-country teams taking part in the NCAA Central Regional this weekend, November 13th, and then that is going to be taking place in Waverly, where they've already run the course this year.
Yeah, I think if Coach Barrett had his way, they probably would have ran this meet the day after they had the MIAC championships because they ran so well at the MIAC. But he's looking for a lot of good things this weekend in Waverly. One of the reasons being is because they have seen this course before, so they know what it's about. They know that it's kind of a flat course, a lot of opportunity for some very fast times. And, you know, from a personal standpoint, I'm hoping David Feather does what he did 2 weeks ago when he was all-conference with his 14th place finish. There's really no reason that he can't continue that at the regionals and maybe even earn an all-region spot. He's been running great all year. It's a fast course, and hopefully he can come through, and we're talking about another individual honor for a very nice fellow in David.
And finally, Donnie, you had mentioned the excitement surrounding the women's and men's basketball teams, and they will have their exhibition contest this weekend against Winona State. That'll be at Winona State University. Exhibition for the Cardinals. It is a regular season game, though, for the Warriors, so a little more incentive for Winona State to come out firing.
Absolutely.
Here.
I talked to Coach Landrum this morning, and, you know, even though it's an exhibition game, the one thing that he did say is once you put the jersey on, it's pretty hard not to be competitive and not to play to win. And that's what he's going to do. They're going to treat it just like a regular game. The only difference being is that in the St. Mary's standings, it won't count. It's an exhibition game. Winona State standings, in their schedule and their overall record, it does count. A little confusing, but you know, that's just the way that the schedule fell and how they had to make up this game in terms of when it could be played. And obviously St. Mary's can't start their official games until Monday when they travel to Crown College for their non-conference opener. But you know, it's going to be there's going to be a great crowd at McCowan Gymnasium, both from the Winona State side and the St. Mary's side. It's still a rivalry, no matter what the teams. We're Division III, they're Division II. It's a great rivalry. It was a great game last year, and I expect more of the same this year. Both of the St. Mary's teams are excited to play. I know Coach Pearson can't wait to get her squad on the court and show what they can do. So, you know, it's going to be a fun night. Women will start it at 5, and then the men will follow that at around 7 o'clock, and you know, hopefully next week we're talking about some interesting things.
And both of those games on Saturday will be aired live right here on HBC Channel 25. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to bring in Dr. Richard Kowles. He's a professor emeritus at St. Mary's University in the biology department. He has a brand new genetics book out, and we'll talk to him about that coming up next here on HBC's Cardinals Nest.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was a mobile phone company where you could actually get great customer service? Well, the wait is over. Full mobile phone service is now available at HBC. With plans starting as low as $40 a month on the nation's largest coverage map, HBC Mobile has a plan for everyone. Individual, family, data, they're all available. And they all come with the personal customer service you've come to expect from HBC. Stop in today at 58 Johnson Street, Winona, to see how you can get a free phone. HBC Mobile. Service you can trust.
This is our Saturday.
Our pride.
Our history.
This is our axe.
No, this is our axe.
This is our true color.
This is our halftime.
This is our tradition.
Our nation.
This is our time.
Our big house.
This is Big Ten football.
Hey, I'm Buddha, inviting you to join me for a brand new show here on HBC TV 25 called Real Attractions. We'll show you trailers from the latest movies to hit theaters and also what's being released on DVD that week. Plus, you have a chance to win free movies by registering at my.hbci.com/realattractions. But you gotta watch to win. So check out Real Attractions here on HBC TV 25, hosted by yours truly, which is why we didn't call it Real Attractive.
Nothing gets you ready for game day like Vikings Game Plan. Every Sunday, join host Paul Allen, along with head coach Brad Childress, as they break down the X's and O's. Plus, log on to foxsportsnorth.com and click on the Vikings tab for even more Vikings content. We are your headquarters for the Vikings, Sundays at 10:30 and online all the time. We are Fox Sports North.
And we are back here on the Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman along with Donny Nadeau, and we welcome in Dick Kowles, Dr. Richard Kowles, who has a brand new book out. It's called The Wonder of Genetics, The Creepy, The Curious, and the Commonplace. Dick, welcome to the Cardinals Nest, and we're going to get to the book here in just a little bit. It's a fascinating book, and we know you're going to love it. But first, Dick, what we'd like to find out is just a little bit more about you. I know as an undergraduate student, you were at Winona State University, so tell us how you went from Winona State as an undergraduate and eventually found your way to St. Mary's.
Well, I began teaching in high school, and for about 14 years, several high schools, and then I went back to graduate school at Minnesota. Genetics was easy to go into for me because it embodies math and statistics and chemistry and biochemistry, molecular.
Everything you love wrapped into one.
Sports I enjoy. I had to get sports in there. Yeah. So from there I went to River Falls, and of course I knew Winona fairly well from my undergrad years. So when an opening came up at St. Mary's, I jumped at it.
And so you've been at St. Mary's since 72?
72, 35 years full-time, last 3 years part-time.
And what was it, or what is it about genetics that you love so much? You mentioned it involves, math and the science and all those things kind of wrapped into one, but what else has led you down this path where you've eventually written this book, trying to educate someone who doesn't know much about genetics about that?
Well, it's an exciting discipline, and a lot of big things going on. When the structure of DNA was determined, I mean, it was very romantic, and then we had recombinant DNA, and it became more romantic, and so it's been an exciting discipline. And my first two books were textbooks, and of course the first one was for non-biology majors. The second one was for biology majors, and I think it was used by grad students in some universities because it was a little technical. But then I got to thinking that, I think the public can understand some genetics too. I think we underestimate them. Many people have gone to college nowadays, they have some education, and so I thought it would be a challenge.
And of course, a number of controversial issues have sprung up in the news all the time surrounding genetics. And this book, The Wonder of Genetics, The Creepy, the Curious, and the Commonplace, what is unique about this book, as Dick pointed out, it's not a textbook, it is a trade book. And so Dick, tell us about your thought process of making this for just the general public to read about genetics.
Much more difficult than a textbook. A textbook, of course, has to be accurate. And its main thing about a textbook is its content. So the writing, and they like it that way, is subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. A trade book, of course, you have to make it a little interesting. And so it was a much harder book to write. And then, of course, when you take something deemed by people to be a little complex, even incomprehensible sometimes, how are you going to make that understandable? Well, it was a good challenge, and I took it on.
Interesting title. What does the creepy have to do with?
Well, there's 37 chapters in there. One chapter is about the circus sideshows, because the seal boy and the bearded lady and the alligator boy and knobby tree boy and so forth, they really had genetic syndromes. And these people, unfortunately, were put in circus sideshows. They were mocked and laughed at and so forth. And beyond that, though, some people think that taking genes from one species and putting them in another species is creepy also. Yeah. And we do that a lot in genetics now.
Yeah. Now so that's just one chapter. What are some of the other ones that you think just the common person has heard about on the news and would like to learn a little bit more about?
I think all of them, really. I concentrated on concepts and subjects and so forth that people run into all the time, whether they're it's not just having children. That's, of course, genetics too. But a lot of movies have a genetic twist to it. Cartoons sometimes have a genetic twist to it. The nature versus nurture arguments that go on, and how much afraid should we be of radon in your basement, and just all 37 chapters cover things that people have heard about. Why don't antibiotics work as well anymore? Well, my objective was not to just say, well, they don't work, but rather try to explain why they don't work from a genetic standpoint and try to make it understandable as possible.
And Dick, you are well known on campus for having a wonderful sense of humor, and I understand there's a few zingers in the book to kind of keep people laughing along the way too, even though we are dealing with serious subjects here.
Well, that's the nice thing about a trade book. The publisher doesn't mind too much if you throw those in. When you do a textbook, they don't like them in there at all. Yeah. In fact, when I did textbooks and I would try to throw something like that in there, the reviewers would throw it out. You know, that's not our place. We just explain it. You know, but that's the nice thing about a trade book.
What do you think about writing books? I mean, is this something that you enjoy doing? Is it something you feel there's a need for, or what kind of drives you to write books?
I think it's just a challenge. I mean, you know, some of us, you know, we have to take on challenges, and it's not easy. They're a labor of love. You have to get a publisher to agree that it's going to be saleable, and so if you like challenges, you know, you'll take them on, and I think that's the big thing.
Dick, talk about your publisher for this one, because as you said, it's a unique book, so you have to find a publisher willing to take a risk on it.
Yes, there were a lot of publishers that just says, you can't explain that to the public. You know, and a lot of people told me the same thing, and so I tried a few publishers, and a lot of them said that. But Prometheus was very excited about it and very willing to take it on. And so I went to the dictionary to find out what Prometheus means. And it means inventive and daring. And I think the book fits that very, very closely. Yeah.
Well, you know, we certainly look forward to reading it. It is just been published. It's hot off the press. It's available wherever books are sold. And Dick, I know you've got some different things in the works as far as book signings and everything go, but certainly encourage people to pick up a copy. As Donny mentioned, this is your fourth book now. Your third one was a memoir, and it's just terrific. And we loved having you on today. So
the memoir has got a lot of zingers in it.
Yeah.
And the real scary part about the memoir, which is called School, is that everything in there is true.
Wow. All right. So. Well, we loved having Dick Kowles on. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks
and good luck with the
me.
book here.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right, stay tuned. Donny and I will be back to wrap things up right after this here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC.
Sometimes life isn't about doing the popular thing or even the cost-effective thing. Many times it's simply about doing the right thing. When HBC did not receive the grant needed to construct a network in Minneska, we were disappointed. But we immediately went to the drawing board, and we are going to be delivering what we promised. Sometimes it's all about making the right decision. So welcome, Minneska.
Nothing gets you ready for game day like Vikings Game Plan. Every Sunday, join host Paul Allen along with head coach Brad Childress as they break down the X's and O's. Plus, log on to foxsportsnorth.com and click on the Vikings tab for even more Vikings content. We are your headquarters for the Vikings, Sundays at 10:30 and online all the time. We are Fox Sports North.
And we're back just to tell you about a few other events coming up on campus this Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. For Veterans Day. A small ceremony will be held at the Veterans Memorial on the St. Mary's campus, which is sort of right behind and next to the library on campus. A prayer remembrance will be held for all those who have served and sacrificed in the U.S. Armed Forces. And finally, Florida composer Paul Richards has been chosen for the 6th St. Mary's Concert Band Kaplan Commissioning Project. There'll be a nice event at 2 p.m. this Sunday, November 14th, in the Page Theater. So that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Thanks for watching.